Now I have basically disconnected my belt off of my timing gear. Here's the timing belt. It looks like it's brand new. Someone has replaced it, so that's going to save me some money. And also the water pump is in really good shape. It's tight, nothing wrong with it, and you can see it's got that collar to it. Works fairly new. I went on ahead, like I said, took off the timing belt. Basically what I did, I took a pair of vice grips and just gripped it on the cam here. Don't grab your lobe. Grab down here where it won't hurt anything, and I put basically I basically put a 13. What size this is? This is, I believe, a 14. I could be wrong. It's a 13. No, I am definitely wrong again. What am I thinking here? This is 18 socket onto the bolt, and I used a ratchet, and I basically used a little pry bar to help myself break the bolt loose, and they are ready to come off, and you can see they are loose. And once I take these off, I will be able to take this entire plastic cover off, and I should have let's see, pretty much access to everything I need, which is basically nothing, because after I take these wheels off, that plastic will come off. Then all I have to do next is go back there and take those manifold bolts off, which they're just little 10mm bolts. Pop those off and start disassembling that cam. And once I get that cam off, then pop those head bolts out, and this head should come off, which is certainly some good news. And I'll take these cam bolts off, this cam gear off. You can kind of see it there. I may have to do it with two hands though. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it with two hands, I think. So let me set the camera down here. Alright, I got those gears off. I had to take a pair of pliers and kind of pull them. Couldn't get them apart with my hands or slide them off the little gears there. You notice on the back it says 2.0. That's the part that you face outward. If you have a 2.4, you put this part outward there where it says 2.4. Now all I got to do, like I said, is go in here and take some of these bolts out of the plastic cover. Oh, by the way, I did use I know I forgot something. A 13mm socket on this tensioner down here. If you can see that, hold that belt on there. I just broke that loose. Broke it loose there, and it loosened that belt up, and it came right off. So all I got to do now is take this out real quick. This is kind of a special setup on this one. This is the tensioner for the timing belt. It's got a little wire. Hopefully you can see that. It's got a little wire there. It's got a little square plug there, and when you put that back on there, you turn that and adjust it, or I believe it may be self-adjusting. I'm not sure. But that is out for now. And now all I got to do is take that guy there off, the idler pulley, and then take that plastic cover off, and there's just a couple of bolts in there. So let me go ahead and do that, and hopefully we'll have this thing apart here pretty soon. Alright, I got all the bolts out of the plastic cover. You don't have to take this clear out. If you want to just loosen up the couple of bolts up on the top there, you can just do that. Let me grab my light and show you what I'm talking about. If you take just a couple of bolts out on the top, you can flex this back enough to just pull that head off. But I decided to take the other two bolts out and just get out of the way, because sometimes I break things and I get a little sloppy. But there is the plastic cover. It seems to be okay. And there's two longer bolts that go on the bottom, which are right there. Then the rest of them are just these funny looking things. The two really long bolts right there go right there on that side. But it's off, and it's actually in pretty good shape. Now all I have to do, believe it or not, is go ahead and start taking all these little bolts out and pop this cam off. I want to get a box and a cloth or something. When you take this apart, you have to put it back together exactly the way you took it apart. And I suggest that when you pull this cam out and all these rocker arms, take very special care, take your time, and put them in something where they won't be disturbed. And when you put them back in, put them in the same way, because you don't want to put two pieces in the wrong area and have a clearance, really big clearance, and you'll have a oil issue, and you'll have knocking or maybe a pecking or a ticking sound or some crazy sound. You don't want that. But make sure you just put all this back together. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Most of these are little 8s, it looks like, and I think these are 10. But I'm going to go ahead and pull those off. Then really the only thing I got left is take those 8 bolts out of the back of that manifold. Then we can take this head off once I break those head bolts loose. They don't look like, they're not that big. But getting down there, oh, by the way, I'll give you a look at the front of the engine here with the cover off. That's basically it. There's nothing down there really, just the block and the top of that head. And of course you can see the timing gear. Let me go down on the bottom. Sometimes I have to use these videos for my own reference. And there is the bottom of the engine. And there's a bracket there. But that's just part of the timing, that is part of the tensioner. That's where the tensioner goes to. That little spring goes in that little cut place there. Alright, so let's go ahead and take the rest of this apart. And I'm excited to get this off here. It shouldn't take about an hour. I'll have an early night, and I'll look at that piston, and I'll show you that piston that was making that noise. If you have a 2.4 van or even a 2.0, if you have this noise, this is probably going to be your issue too. And these wrist pins, they do get bad. Now I have got the cam off and all the good little parts here. I got all my rocker arms and my caps all in order the way I took them off. I know it looks like a mess to you, but I know exactly how they go back on, even the way they should, just like that. Not around the other way, but just like that. And I got everything in a nice box. My cam is actually inside the driver's seat, and I marked each one of them with white and green paint. And that's what the factory did. They had a little green and white paint on there, so I did the same thing. So my head is ready to come off. All I have to do is take those bolts off, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I got to go back here and take these manifold bolts off, which shouldn't take me very long. And I have one little bolt right there that was a bracket for that water line. That's it. It's ready to come off. So it looks like we're getting toward the end here. I know it's a lot of work, but I'm going to make probably a couple grand on this vehicle because I got it pretty cheap. So it's about 3 days worth of work. So $2 grand's not too bad. But everything's a nice order here. I know how to exactly put it back, exactly the way I took it apart. And that's what you need to do too, especially on these dual overhead cams, because there's a lot of pieces you got to put back together. All right, we'll go ahead and start taking those manifold bolts off and head bolts, and we'll pop this head off. Okay, got all the manifold bolts out. There they are. They were just little 10 millimeters. All of them came out except the one, and it's in the back. It was actually on the upper side, which I could get from up here, but it broke off. Let me go under here real quick, and I'll just kind of give you a look. The ones up on top, I could get right up here. I just bent over and put my hands behind the head, and I got in there and got all those out of there. They broke loose pretty easy, which I'm really surprised. Alright, I'm going to go under here and give you a quick look. Once I got the head bolt, the exhaust bolts broke loose, they came out pretty easy. And you can see there is the bottom of the exhaust. There's one bolt there. And the very last one is over there on the bottom. You can get it from the top if you use a 10 extension and a small ratchet. You can get it. The one I broke is, I don't know if you can see it or not if I shine that light, but it's back over there. There's one up in there. I think you can kind of see the hole there. That's the one I broke off. So I'll just drill that out once I pull the head off. But if you can get the bottom bolts off, you're okay. I stuck my hand up through there and kind of worked around it and stuck my hand up between this axle, but I barely got my hand through that axle. I had to actually work it from the other side. So all I have to do is break these head bolts loose. I did take that bolt out there on the side I was telling you about for this waterline stuff. And that is it. I'll go ahead and break. See, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 head bolts. I'm not sure what size they are. They look like the 13s. I'll go ahead and break these loose and take them out, and I'll let you know what size they are. We'll knock this head off, and we'll look at that piston. And that will be the conclusion, I guess, taking this head off. So let's get to it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the big moment we all been waiting for. The head is ready to come off. I got all my bolts out. Basically, I used a 15 socket and a breaker bar, a pipe. I didn't even use a breaker bar. Those bolts, they came out real easy and they're in really good shape. I'm going to reuse them. I've always reused all my head bolts. Rarely have had to buy new ones. Of course, if they're all stretched out and all that, you have to redo it. But those came out real easy, and this thing's ready to come out. So I'm going to go ahead and set this camera down here, and you can watch me pop this out of here real quick. That way, you'll say, hey, he actually does his own work. I know a lot of these guys that have videos and stuff. They do make a lot of videos. You never see them get dirty, but this is not a very clean job. I'll tell you that. And also, I use my little magnet. It makes it easier to lift those head bolts up out of there because they're kind of slippery. So now I'm going to go ahead and kind of tap that there and see if I can free it up. It should be pretty easy to free up. Yep, just like that. And let's see, I need to set it somewhere. I'll lift it up. It shouldn't be very heavy. Oh, well, you know what? I left one bolt in the back of that manifold just so when I tuck them all out, it wouldn't fall down on me and hit me in the head. So let me take that out of there real quick. So, see, it's easy to forget things. My fault. As you can see, the upper manifold bolts are easy to get to. I believe there's 5. There we go. I'm about out of energy for tonight. Alright, there it is. Forgot to take that baby out of there. Now the head is ready to come out. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I felt the car go down because it weighs about 30 or 40 pounds, and there is the head. It is disconnected and pretty easy to take off. It looks like if I flip it over, the head gasket is still on the engine. Okay, that's fine. And this is the cylinder that was making noise. Everything looks good. I don't see any cracks. The valves are all pretty much burnt evenly. So more than likely, this piston is making some kind of noise. Oh yeah, it's pretty loose. I'll tell you what, since I got the head off and I'm about ready to end the video, I'm going to go ahead and pull this piston out here real quick. It'll take me just a minute. We'll look at it real quick. Pop the head gasket off. I can get it off. Looks like it's the probably the original head gasket. Yeah. People are cheap. They don't want to replace anything anymore. You have to do it yourself. Alright, so like I said, there's the head. Everything looks really good. It ran great. It just made that tick, tick, tick noise. And I thought it was in the head, but it turned out it was down in the engine. I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and pop this cap bolt off, and we'll pop that piston out there, and we'll look at it real quick. Okay, this is take 7. Alright everybody, I got the piston out, and there's the cylinder. It looks pretty good. I don't see anything, any ridges or anything. Looks pretty good down in there, you can see. But I did find out what was wrong, why the engine was knocking or pecking. Check this out. This is a piston. Do you see an issue here? Do you see anything that looks a little odd? I'm trying to light up a little bit better for you. That rod is bent. I have no idea how that got bent, but that rod was bent. The bottom of that crankshaft, the weight was hitting the bottom of the piston. You see those little shiny marks right there? That's what my noise has been all the whole time. I have no idea how that would have happened, but I did make a mark on my piston there so I know which way is forward. But that's what my problem was the whole time. Rings look good. I don't see no places there that are busted or anything. But yeah, that is odd. I've never seen a piston that's pretty crooked. I'm very happy to find out to know that's what it was. So now all I gotta do is order parts. This is gonna take me a couple of days to get some parts. In the meantime, I'll clean everything up. The cylinders, like I said, look pretty good. I don't see any scratch marks, no ridging on the top. That's really what's important. And everything looks pretty decent. So this is pretty much the end of the video at this point. So I'm gonna have to go order a piston. I've never seen one do that. Apparently it must have overheated in order to get like that. That explains why that was hitting there. If you watched my other video, I showed you on the crank where you had a scrape mark. Matter of fact, I think I can go under the car real quick and show you that mark. If I get it turned in the right position. I don't think I do. Maybe I can turn it with my hand real quick. Nah, you're not going to be able to see it. But there's a mark up there on that crank where it was hitting. You know, I want to see if I can turn it and show you guys real quick. Alright, there we go. It's coming. Right there is that mark. See that shiny area? Hold the light just right. You can see it right there. My finger is. So it's been hitting. So that's good to know. And I looked at those other rods. They're all straight. That is the strangest thing I've ever seen. Unless I'm totally missing something. It looks like that's probably the issue. But anyway, I am going to go ahead and order parts and clean this head up. And that should be about it for the video. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. But if you're going to do this job, it took me about 2.5 days, about 4.5 hours each day. It's well worth it if you have a little extra money. Unless I'm totally missing something. I don't think that piston's supposed to be bent like that. And I even checked the wrist pin, and it looks pretty straight. But I want to go online and see if that piston, that connecting rod, is supposed to be like that. But there you go. Alright, I'll give you guys an update a little bit later. I'll go check that real quick and make sure that's not bent, not supposed to be bent like that. Then I'll give you an update and I will end this video. Alright, before I end the video, I just want to verify that I wasn't seeing anything. This is the piston I took out that I thought was bent. This is the one that was right beside it. This cylinder here, it was easy to take out. So I thought, well, I'm going to double check, and yep, see the difference there? That one is bent a heck of a lot more than that one is. That one has a slight bend in it, but it's nothing too serious. I guess that's the way that's supposed to be. But this one is really bent, and that's apparently my issue. Not sure how it got bent, but I guess he'll do that. But when I get my new piston and rod, I'll verify it, make sure it's supposed to be exactly like that. Not like that. But there you go. Alright, so that's pretty much the end of the video. And by the way, here is my manifold. There's the one I broke the bolt off on there. You can see the pattern of the bolting here on that manifold. The nice thing is they don't put caps on the studs. It's a straight bolt into the block, but I guess it doesn't matter because if you break one, you still have to drill it out. And it's on the back side. Let's see. Let me just turn this around real quick. Yeah, there's the stud I broke right there. Actually, part of it's still sticking out, so I may be able to heat that up and just take it out. But it had a slight, exhaust leak right there. It looked like anyway. The head's in good shape. All right, folks. Well, that'll conclude the video. Thanks for watching. And like I said, if you have any questions, just let me know. But I'm no expert, but like I said, this is a dirty job. But if you've got a nice van that's got a good body and you need to do this job, it might be well worth it. You know, there's an old saying, sometimes it's cheaper to keep her, and that's what I'm doing. I'm keeping her. Well, I'm actually going to sell it, but I'm going to keep it for a while. But that's what I do. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and good luck.